So far in our discussion of functions, we talked about functions at the module level. You basically have your main, which calls some function, and that's pretty much it. Now the question is, what if you want to have a function which is attached to a particular struct? Remember when we had the strings, for example, and we call .length on them to get their length? Well, let's imagine a similar scenario. I have a struct called point here, and 2 points, start and end, actually make up a line. So let's suppose I want to get the length of the line, meaning that I want to maybe print line length equals, and then my line dot length. So how do I do it? Well, I have the start and end points, and I have my line. So all I have to do is I have to give the struct line an implementation of the function length. And an implementation of a function for a struct is called a method. So let's implement the method length inside our line. The way you do it is by writing impl and then the name of the struct that you are implementing for. And here we put in an ordinary function called length. However, there is a bit of a difference into how this compares to ordinary functions like the methods function here. The first argument is a reference to self. So self is essentially a reference to the class that we're working with, and this is the only way that this particular implementation is actually going to be able to access the start and end points. So we're going to calculate the length, which is going to be an F64. And the way to do this is we're going to calculate the differences in the x coordinates, the differences in the y coordinates, and then square those, add them up, and take the square root. So here I'll define dx to be the x coordinate of the start point minus the x coordinate of the end point. Now, how do I get those points? Well, I get them through this self variable. So self is actually a reference to a point, so I can do self.start.x minus self.end.x, and I can do a similar thing for the y coordinates. So dy would be self.start.y minus self.end.y. Alright, and now that I have a dx and dy, all I have to do is multiply dx by itself, add dy by itself, and then take the square root. So that's all I need to do, and this is my method done. So now line has a method called length, which actually calculates the length of the line, and we can actually try running this. And as you can see, we get a rather detailed answer with relation to what the length actually is. So this is how you add behavior to structures, by providing methods inside an impl block.